Hello. In previous video we have seen how to use the basic callback in Dash apps, correct? Now we will use that particular concept to get the idea about how to create the multi-page apps in Dash. Now if you remember, if you're following this particular playlist I am creating on Dash, we already discussed about how to create a single page app in Dash, right? And we are all working on that particular single page app currently, right? So if you remember, we were working on this polling app, and in the previous video we created this particular callback where in this particular text box whatever I write, it will automatically update the below div as well over here, right? Now to understand how to create the multi-page apps, what we'll do is we will try to understand two things first. One is the location object and another is the link object in Dash. Now both are part of the Dash core component. So if you see, there are two things called the location and the link. So link basically used to create a hyperlink in a page. So we will try to just create a very simple links over there in our page, and if we click on that particular link, our URL over here should be updated as well accordingly. Okay, so that's the idea over here. And then maybe latter part of this video we will try to see, once we move to separate page, how to change the content as well over there. Okay, but initially let us try to create the link and then try to access the URL over here. Okay, so as you remember, like Dash is basically a single page application, so that's why we are using this technique called this creating this link and using that location object to create the multi-page apps over here. So that's why we need to create separate content as well for different pages. So we'll see that how that works. But first of all, let us try to create a link over here. So what we'll do is, in our code itself, for now I will just remove these three things because I was using it for our callback purpose, correct? So I will just remove that so that our page, the main page, will have only this single line called welcome to the Dash polling app. So if I just go back here in our page, so currently it is deploying over here, if you see it. So once it is completed, these two should be gone over here. Okay, so and if you see, like in our callback we were accessing those IDs over here, this text box ID and div ID. So that's why actually Dash is actually complaining about this one. So we will change the callback as well later part of this video. Okay, so let us close this one. Let us go back over here. Let us try to create a couple of links over here. So as I said, we need to use the Dash core component link over here. So we'll say dcc dot link. So just to create, we'll just try to see the documentation first. So link is dcc dot capital link. Okay, so we need to use that. So dcc dot link over here. I'll just remove this one, link over here. Now when you try to create a link, you need to give the text, the hyperlink text over here. Let's say I will just try to create three links in our page. One is called the home. So if you just click on home, so it will bring you to the home page. So there will be other two links called polls and polls result, so that if you click on those things, it will take you the corresponding page over here. Now if you see the documentation of the link, so there is a thing called input called href over here, parameter called href, right? So this is nothing but the URL of that link source. So href equals to for home, let's give that one, let's give slash over here. Okay, nothing. Now I just wanted to create separate links, so I will copy this guy over here. Okay, and two separate links for, okay, I need to give comma over here as well because this is an array over here. We have discussed this structure before. So the second page will be polls over here. Okay, and the link will be slash polls over here. and the third link will be poll result. Let's say poll results over here, and the link, let's say POLLRESULTS, poll results over here. So if I just save it, let's see how it looks like in our page. We'll wait for certain amount of time to get these details over here. If you see, it is not looking good because it is all these three hyperlinks are actually, it is rendering side by side. So what we'll do is we'll just give a break so that it at least it looks good now. We will fix it, we will make it good, like at least the apply CSS on it on this one later stage. Okay, so HTML dot br, that was our line break, correct? So we have seen that before. So I'll just copy it, I will paste it over here as well. So this will fix at least this issue over here. Okay, so we have three links. So if I just click on home, nothing will happen. If I just click on polls, if you see slash polls is coming up in our URL, and if I just click on poll request, so slash poll results are coming up. Sorry, if I just click on poll results, so slash poll results are coming up in our URL as well. Now my job is to get this URLs, which one is I have been collected. I need to know that because I need to dynamically set the content of that particular page as well, right? So to know which, to basically parse this URL, you need to use this location object over here. So this dcc.location component represents the location or address bar in your web browser. So you will use this one to parse that URL over here. And location has a property called path name. If you see it, so this is the path, which I was referring over here. So that will hold the value of this one over here. Okay, so now to use this location object, so what we need to do is, I'll go back to our code. So we just need to refer it over here. It will not render anything, but that object will be there. So we will say dcc dot location, and let's give it a ID over here because we will be using this ID in our callback. So let's say URL, my ID is URL, and there is another property called refresh. So if I just go back to the documentation, so there is a refresh. So if you just click on the page, it will refresh or not. So that is, this particular property is telling us. So for now we will just go with refresh equals to false. Refresh equals to false over here. False over here. I'll give a comma over here. So if you see it, like once I save these changes, it will not render anything over here. Our dash page will look similar as is. Okay, so now let us try to write a callback. So if I just click on this home or poll results, I'll just try to create a div over here just to see whether I am able to access this path name parameter or not, basically that particular property or not. Okay, so for that what I'll do is I'll go back to my callback. Let's create a component ID. Let's create a div over here. Okay, so let's say I will give a comma and I will say html dot div, and the ID of that div, let's say this one, page content or whatever. I can give the similar output div as well. In previous video you are using the same div, right? So let us use that. So this is my output div and my property is children. So this is what I want to update as well for my output div. So this is my callback, right? And my input will be not the input one. So it will be the path name property of my location, correct? So that's why this ID will be useful now. So component ID will be URL, component property will be our location has a property called path name, correct? So this property we want to take it as an input over here. So I'll just pass it over here. in my path name, and this is fine. For just better readability, I will just give the input name as path name. You can keep the same input val as well, it does not make any difference, and return the output val. This is fine. So that means whenever I will be clicking on any link, it will basically take the path name and it will update this particular output div over here, right? So let us see that. So if I just go back, our deployment is completed. If you see, as I was previously clicked on this poll results, so output div is actually holding the poll results. So if I just click on polls, so it will be slash polls over here. If I just click on home, it will be slash as well. So at least we are able to read the path name over here, correct? Now the challenge is to, based on whatever link I am clicking on, I need to basically display separate content over here. Because if you see it, like we are using a single app.layout over here to display everything here, right? So some way we need to create multiple layouts. First of all, that's the challenge. And second challenge is, based on the path name, we need to display those layouts as well. Okay. So let us do that one. Let us try to create 3 separate layout. Okay. And then we will see how to display it. So let's create our home layout. If let's say we are in home page, I will just give a variable name called home layout, and here what the things will be there. I'll just now declutter from the app.layout to separate pages layout. Okay, so this one will be there. So let's try to copy this one here, and I will keep this one over here, the welcome to the dash polling app, and I do not need this location object, so that let's keep it in our app.layout only, because this is the default layout. Dash will read it out, okay, and display it in our page. So that's why I'm just keeping this location of here only. Okay, I will comment this one so that we can at least understand what was there previously and what was the new code we are going to use it. And this home, polls and poll results will all be there in my home page, right? Because I need to click that. So that's why I will just comment this one here. Okay. I will save it now. So in my main layout, main app.layout, which basically dash will initially read to render it, so you have only a single output div. So if I just see it now, if you see, there is only single output div now, right? So it is not displaying anything over here because it does not have any idea about this home layout we have created over here. Somewhere we have to see it, how to make it understand. So let us continue. Let us try to create other 2 pages layout as well. So let's have polls underscore layout as well. So in the polls underscore layout, so in that page, let's for now just keep a single HTML h1 over here, like this is the polls page. Okay, maybe I'll just copy over here. Okay, I'll just copy the whole stuff because we need to first create this div to hold that. So let's say this for polls, so I'll just try to write it over here. This is polls page over here. Okay, or maybe I'll just create a link over here, okay, to go back to our home page. Okay, so that's my polls layout. And let's try to create a polls underscore results layout as well. Polls underscore results underscore layout over here also. Let's have this name, polls results page, and the link of a home page over here. Okay, so we have created 3 different layouts over here. Now the second challenge is, so we created this layout, but dash only understand this app.layout. So somewhere we have to set these layouts whenever I will be clicking that link over here. So that's why again our callback will come into picture. Now if you see it over here, apart from this location object, I have kept this output div as well over here, correct? So that means what we will do is we will try to use this particular div to display or render this layouts over here. So that's why our output will be still our output div. Our input will be still our path name. Now, as we have the path name, so we can write this kind of logic. So let's comment these 2 lines for now. Okay. And let's say if I write something like this one, if path name double equals to, let's say, slash polls, correct? So this is what I am expecting when I will be clicking on that polls link over here. So if I have this particular path name, so what will be happening? So I will return this polls layout. So that this output div will basically render this polls layout over here. That's why I have kept this output div over here. This is important. Similar stuff. So else if my path name is basically this guy, poll results, so if it is poll results, so what I will return? So I will return this guy over here, polls results page content, correct? Else I will return our homepage content. So here you can do lot of debugging as well, like lot of error handling as well, like 404. If it does not match any of the URL, you can return 404 as well. So those kind of stuff you can do, but I am just trying to keep it simple. Return our home layout. So now using this callback, we are able to dynamically assign the layout of the page. If I just go back now, if you see our main page is coming up now. Why? Because we have not provided anything in our URL. So according to our callback, it was returning my home layout. So inside my home layout, I have given these things over here, right? This particular line and 3 hyperlinks over here. So that is what it is displaying over here. So once I click on polls, if you see it, my output div is actually giving me this particular polls page link over here. Okay, it was also displaying this output result as well, this home layout as well. So let me see what's going on over here. Ideally it should not show up this guy, this home layout as well. So let me see home layout. Okay, I was keeping this output div, which I should not be, because that is what we are keeping it over here in our app.layout, correct? So if I just go back now, for the polls page, if you see it, now it is only displaying the polls page content. So if I just click on home, it will go back to our home page again. So if I just click on poll results, so it will basically display the content of the polls results as well. Now anyway, we are just only displaying a single line over here. We do not have any kind of drop downs or something over here, which might have another callback, which we'll see that later. Okay, in maybe in next video, because there is another challenge over here, we will see that. But at least we are able to achieve like different pagination over here, right? Now from here, we will try to, in next few videos, we'll try to see couple of things, because as I said, so let's say if you have some kind of drop downs or something which have a callback written for that particular element, it dash will throw you an error, because the main requirement is for the callback is, so dash, whenever you initially the dash app runs, right? So it basically try to run the callback as well. Now inside the callback, if that particular component does not exist, so it will throw you an error over here. We have seen this in this particular video as well, when I have deleted that previously defined text boxes, right? So now as we are dynamically defining the layout over here, as you can see, because based on what link I am clicking, that particular layout will be shown over here, right? So that means the other layout which is not shown, those elements will not be into existence, correct? So in that case, Dash will definitely throw you an error, but to overcome that error, there are certain settings we need to do it in the run server, which we will see that as well. The second thing we will see is, as you can see it over here, like this is, we have just created 3 pages over here. Now as you will be working on very huge application and so many number of pages, it requires management of these pages as well. We will see that one as well, how to better manage this code over here and how to modularize these things over here as well. Okay, so hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. See you in the next video.